Hey everyone, I made the mistake earlier of posting this on my personal Facebook page as opposed to the coaching page. So if you missed my Decoding the Alienated Child earlier, please log on and we can go over what we discussed in my previous live video. I want to redo it all. So we talked about one, parental alienation being a form of child abuse. It is something that, there we go, was new to me this year, and it may be new to you. I know it's something that's been around for a while. The act of it's been around for a long time, but the actual terminology is still pretty new. So what I want to go over today is when your alienated child says something, they say certain words, there's language they use at the targeted parent. What do they actually mean? I learned this a lot this year. I started hearing all of these phrases, actually. I've heard everything that's on this list. So it's good for us targeted parents to really understand what our children mean and what they're really saying. We can't walk through this unless we know how to effectively communicate with them. And that not only goes for them, it also goes for the narcissistic or disordered parents that we're also dealing with. There's a great book, and I will pump it up every time. It's called The Decoder. I got it on Audible, and it is a woman who went through a high conflict custody situation, and she had a sociopathic, I believe, ex, and she was able to she'll take snippets from her emails with him during their custody battle, and she'll break it down and tell you what it actually means. So what your alienated child is being unfortunately learning is the alienated parents' terminology and their language. You know, that your child's thoughts become their thoughts, and they start, basically abusing you, taking the place of the abusing parent, the alienating parent, for how they abuse you. So let's start out, okay? When they say, "I hate you," what does it actually mean? It means I'm not allowed to love you. When they say, "You've never been a good parent," what they really mean is, and I'm reading off of some information that I have. It's actually a poem that was written, and it has some of the best terminology for this in it. So I can post it on the page afterwards for everyone to have and read. But this is the best kind of all-in-one place I've gotten for this information. You've never been a good parent. They mean, I've been forced to rewrite history. I don't know how to repair this damage. And as you know, narcissists will use a bunch of different tactics with gaslighting, cognitive dissonance, to brainwash the child, basically. And then they rewrite history. I mean, that's what they do to you when they're trying to exert control over you. They get you to doubt yourself. They doubt your situation. They'll say that things never happened that clearly did happen. You'll start to question yourself. And they'll get you in vulnerable moments too. You'll start to question yourself. You'll start to wonder if that really happened the way you remember it happening. A lot of times this happens with parents and children. It's harder when you're an adult. It still does happen, but when they say things like, "I don't want to see you," what they really mean is, "I want to see you, but it causes me so much grief. After I return from every visit, I see anger or sadness in my other parent. I have to push you away so far so it doesn't hurt." They get punished for loving you. They get punished for having a good time with you. And when they get home from their visits with you, there's a lot of stress that they go under. There's a lot of spying that happens. They're forced to, give a breakdown of everything you did on your visit. And so they're constantly worried about getting you in trouble. And the same goes for the other parents. So do your best not to do this to your child when they come to see you. Don't make them answer questions about their time with their other parent, because it's going to feel oddly familiar in a bad way, because that's what happens when they're with you. And make sure that when you're on your time, don't do anything that they're not going to be comfortable sharing with the other parent. Make sure you're living above reproach. You are doing meals at a scheduled time. You're doing, activities. You're not letting them spend too much time on their devices. You're not spending time with people or anyone that they would, they would be unhappy with. I mean, at this point, it's about making sure your child's comfortable and that your child doesn't get made to feel guilty for anything that you did on your time. So just be thinking about that. And if your child, tells you maybe we shouldn't do this, maybe the other parent wouldn't like it, listen to them, and don't do it. It's about them. I don't want to see you. Oh, sorry. It's all your fault. You'll get blamed for everything, right? For how they feel, for the divorce or the separation. What they really mean is I'm hurting inside. I need someone to blame, and I don't know why it's you. And it's you because you're the safe parent. It's you because they know that they're not going to, be punished for acting like. Sorry, I just got a message on Facebook. Let's see. These are my feelings, what do you know? When they try, the independent thinker phenomenon is when they believe are actually theirs. And so when this happens, they'll tell us, these are my feelings, you don't know anything. What they really mean is I can't think and feel for myself anymore. The thoughts and feelings I have are not my own. Please understand. At the end of the day, your child loves you, and they don't understand what's going on, and neither do you, but you can now, and you need to just be there for them and support them. When they say no one likes you or you have no friends, what they really mean is I'm sorry everyone around us has been told lies and have been made to believe them. You don't deserve this. I've heard this. I've heard my therapist hates you. Everybody, everyone hates you. Everyone in their circle, his circle, not on my end, but everybody on that side, because everyone is then forced, when it came down to our the final discard, everyone was made to choose sides. And either they chose my side or his side, which is, of course, very unhealthy, right? And so everyone on that side, if they want to remain on his side, has to reject me. That includes grown adults as well. So they say those things, and I hear that a lot, that, those people don't like me or whatever. When they say, I'm not coming with you today. So when they start to turn down your visits. Now, this didn't happen to me. I never had this happen until it was completely shut down, until all of a sudden she just didn't want to see me at all. I never had 1 or 2 visits turned down. But what they really mean is, I'm sorry, the pressure got to be too much. Everything keeps getting blown out of proportion, and it's easier for me just not to see you. And I did hear that I've had 2 conversations with my alienated daughter in almost 8 months, and I have not seen her. But I did get 2 phone calls, and that's when they weren't nice phone calls. But the last one, she said, my life is much less stressful without you in it, which I believe to be true. Yeah. And then things get blown into proportion. Yeah, because you want to know what? Because and this is what we do, we tend to start because we're terrified, right? We don't know what's going on. And not only does the other party do it, they'll look for any little thing, to make us look bad, right? Any little thing. And it gets blown into something that it's not, because literally they have to find things, twist it, turn it, convolute it, and make it into something bad. We legitimately have things that are bad that are happening on that end. And when we try to get help for them, or try to bring it up, or sometimes our children can feel like we're blowing things out of proportion, and that can shut them down. So just be careful of this. Make sure you're getting your evidence. You're not swinging at every pitch. You need to just be documenting when things occur, and then use that later on down the road for the big shebang when you're gonna actually do something with it. But don't play the game in the meantime. When they say go away, they mean is when you're around, the pressure is worse, and I retract because it hurts less. It's none of your business what grades I get. What they really mean is I love it when you praise me for my achievements, but I can't show it. So keep doing that. Keep encouraging them. Keep reaching out. Keep saying those things. It's not about you anymore. It's not whether or not they respond to you or they, they say anything back or anything nice. It's not about that anymore. It's about keeping a stream of communication open with that child and letting them know that you are there. Despite what's happening, you are there and you are solid and you're consistent. That's important. And they say, don't buy me gifts. I'm told you're trying, what they really mean is, I'm told you're trying to buy my love. But I love it when I'm allowed to keep your thoughtful gifts. This has been a big one for me. My child's being told that I'm trying to buy their love. And, I've always been the one to buy things because the other parent has always been so neglectful. And I mean, to the extent of like not buying underwear and clothes and shoes, or food for that matter. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. They're made to believe on that end that their needs are not important, that they shouldn't even have needs. I mean, the needs that they have they're diminished so much. They just should not need or want anything. And they're not given anything. So I, of course, on the other end, am like the opposite way, which then is being used to make it seem like I'm trying to buy love. But I try to now, what I do is instead of buying expensive things, I try to go for thoughtful things that I know she'll know aren't me trying to buy her love, but just to connect with her. Let's see. Stop all the legal action. You're causing us so much pain and money. What they really mean is, I don't understand what you're fighting for is right, and that you're fighting to have me back in your life again. I know that I was asked to drop the order for protection because it was causing the other parent too much stress. And because the other parent wants to use the child, they know that what your soft spot is, and they know that you want to make your child happy, and so they'll use your child to send the message to you of what they want to have done. But here's the deal: your child does not understand the severity of the situation that you are in. Your child can't dictate these things anymore. I know that I spent a lot of time letting my children dictate things because I wanted them to have their opinions to be heard. I wanted them to have a voice. I wanted them to know that I valued what they had to say or what they thought. But the problem is that this is not really what they feel and think. So you have to be very careful in discerning this and understand that your children can't make these decisions for you. And you need to take it. Every case is different. Everybody knows differently, what's best for you. And just know that these are the alienator's words, not your child's. Let's see. You've never been there for me. What they really mean is, I wish you were here right now, like you always were, so kind and loving. Don't call me. I have someone listening over my shoulder, prompting me to be hateful and defiant. Or completely ignoring. I used to, their communication is monitored. And they may not know that it's monitored, but they have a feeling, and if they don't know, they know. But the narcissist will make sure that your child understands that they're being watched, and that they kind of have the all-knowing eyes. They'll make them feel like they know everything that's going on, because they likely know a lot. Not everything, but they're likely stalking in some way. They're likely engaging in some kind of cyber stalking, or having some kind of access to devices. I don't care how you feel. What they mean is, when you tell me how sad you are, I feel guilty and I can't cope. Be really careful about how the guilt trip that you're laying on your child, because that's what the narcissist does. They love to guilt trip their children. And so when you're talking to them, be careful that you're not putting your emotional stress onto them, and you're not making them feel bad, because they can't control this. This isn't them. And so you can't, you want to keep things light. You want to keep things as stress-free as possible, which is very hard because it's the exact opposite of what you want to do. But you have to control this in yourself. You really do, to be effective. When they say, don't tell me what to do, you're not my parent anymore. What they mean is, I'm sorry for everything I've done. It's not my fault. I feel stuck. Yeah. Leave me alone. That means, I'm angry and sad about everything. Please don't abandon me. Stay near even though I can't reach out to you. So you want to avoid the urge to protect yourself and detach, because this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to think about this, and it's going to be easier. Yeah, it would be easier just to detach from your child and take these words and be hurting. But you know what? if you can, you need to take care of yourself. You need to get this information to know what they really mean, and to know that your child doesn't not love you. They don't want to reject you. They don't hate you. They don't believe these things that they're saying that are coming out of their mouths. It may seem very, very real. People may tell you that that it's true, but you need to know the truth, and you need to do your very best to continue to reach out, continue to let them know that you're there for them, and that you are going to remain consistently communicating and reaching out. I make sure that I email my daughter. I'm not allowed to have her phone number. They just haven't given it to me. They canceled her phone and got her a new phone number. But I have her email, so I continuously reach out over email and just check in, say hi. I have a Facebook page, a group that I started called Grace's Place, and I just have like things I post in hopes that one day she'll be able to see it. But I just remain reaching out as I'm working to, regain custody of her again. I'm working through the court system and through a parenting coordinator to have reunification therapy to get contact. So I'm definitely not stagnant in this. I'm working forward to have communication with my child. When they say, I don't care what happens to you, I need you to look out after you so you can be there for me when I get out of this horrible mess. They need you to be the best you that you can be. They need you to take care of yourself. They need you to, they're protecting themselves, they're shutting down to protect themselves. And I really believe that part of it is to protect you, because they understand how hurtful that it was to you. When my daughter finally stopped reaching out completely, I really do believe part of it is because she knew how hard it was for me and how much I was trying to help her. And it's hard for me not to believe that there's a part of her that did that on my part for me. So, yeah. You don't love me, you never have. What they really mean is, please don't give up, I need your love. Don't give up on your kids. I don't want to live with you. It means I need someone to lift this pressure off me. I should never be forced to choose between two parents. At the end of this, it says, all people see is a child rejecting a parent. Alienated children are stuck in emotional turmoil, protective of the emotionally abusive parent, unable to think or feel for themselves anymore, as they take on their emotionally abusive parent's thoughts and feelings as if they are their own. They are bonded to their abuser. So, again, I know that throughout this, I had to acknowledge that there are times when I was, contributing to the alienation of my child, and I had to really start doing the work, and I had to start learning about this, and I had to start learning how to effectively combat it and communicate with my child. Not only my child who is in extreme alienation, but my one who is continuously in the cycle of alienation, who I do have contact with and custody of. So learning this stuff, understanding what they really mean when they say these things, has been pivotal for me, because it would be impossible to get through this otherwise. You would break. I would have broken into a million pieces if I truly believed, and I never believed it. Even before I knew this stuff, when people would tell me, the messengers would say, she doesn't want anything to do with you. She feels this way, she feels this way. I just said, no, there's no way. There's no way my child feels that way about me. There's just not, it's not possible. And I had to look at myself too. It's not like we can sit back and just say there's no reason why our child would want to reject us. Of course there is. I mean, we played a part in this as well. But it's really important that we take a look at ourselves. It's important that you find out this stuff, reach out, do your research on Google, get on the other parental alienation support pages, and get around other parents that are going through this. Talk about your story, talk about your situation, and start using and applying some of these tactics to combat. And please reach out to me. I'm at Reckless Sisu Coaching. I do free coaching for people in these situations, because it's expensive. Being stuck in the family court system is expensive. The alienation experts are very expensive. And I know that when I was in the position and needed help to learn, I didn't have that kind of money to find out what I needed to know. And so I had to do the work myself. So I want to offer that to any parent that think they might be going through alienation, or know that they are and want some ways to combat it. I have a huge heart for people in this situation because it's been the most difficult place I've ever been in my life and the most helpless feeling. But like I said, I'm going to post these different things that when the alienating child, what they say. I'd like to go, I don't want to go all over them again, but what they're saying to you and their actual words aren't necessarily what they mean. And understanding where their head is and why they're doing this out of survival. They're doing this because they don't feel they have another option. They're trying to protect themselves. They're under too much pressure because they're being forced to choose between you and the alienated parent. And we, as targeted parents, as hard as it is, we have to remember that, and I try to remember all the time. I tell my daughter I'm proud of her. I'm so proud of her for doing what she needs to do to be healthy and to be okay. And even though it's the last thing that I want her to do, and I wish that she just knew that all she had to do was, say I want to be with you or I want to see you, and I could, be with her. But she doesn't right now. She doesn't trust that I can help her. And so that's why I need to do the things I need to do to get myself in a good position to be able to be that for her. And once you are, there will be a shift, and your children will see that. And they may not understand it right away. You might not think that they can see it, but they do, because your ex or the alienated parent or people they are keeping a close eye on you, whether you know it or not. They are very good at keeping tabs on you, and as much as you can keep to yourself is also good. Try not to put too much out there. I've made this mistake before. I'm probably a little too far gone, so I'm very careful about what information I share. But you need to put yourself in a good place, because when you are a hot mess and you fall apart, your kid knows that, they see that, and they're not going to trust that you're going to be able to protect them from the other parent. And they're going to have to choose. If they're given the choice, they will choose that parent, because when they are bonded to them as an abuser, if any of you have gone through emotional abuse, that feeling when you don't want to get the person, someone does something bad to you, you have a boyfriend or a parent who does something bad to you, something you know is wrong, but you don't want to get them in trouble. We don't want to get them in trouble because we love them and care about them. That's the bond. That's the trauma bond. And the thing is that I remember those feelings. I remember feeling that way. My ex tried to kill me on a number of occasions, and I never held him accountable or responsible. I honestly never even really brought it up much again. And it's because I didn't believe that, I kept giving him excuses or making excuses for why it happened. And he denied that it happened to, of course, which then, starts to confuse you, and you wonder if he doesn't admit it, you're the only one that will say that it happened. It's pretty crazy how much power they can have when they really don't have a lot of power. I was talking to some parents today. There's parents who have full custody still, and somehow this person has been so psychologically abusive and controlling and powerful that they convince the parents that they don't have control of the child who they have full custody of. I mean, these abusers are very smart. And they're not necessarily smart like as in intelligent, but they know how to get you to do what they want. They're used to that. They're used to, controlling and manipulating people to get what they want and need. And so we need to start using critical thinking skills, which we also are going to have to start teaching our children. And once you start using your critical thinking skills, once you start learning healthy behaviors, you're doing your own therapy. I started doing therapy with someone who works specifically with targeted parents. And so I'm excited about this because I think it's going to be like the next step in how I am able to combat this and get my own healing. Because even if I got my child back today, would I be prepared to fight the alienation, effectively? That's what you need to decide. Are you in a place where you're able to fight that? Because that other parent's not necessarily going away. That's where you need to be. You need to do your work on yourself. You need to be, you have good self-care, and you need to know your enemy and know how to how to fight it. And you need to fight on different playing ground, different ground than you have been. So I hope that all of you are hanging in there and know that there's hope. You are not helpless. I know it feels that way. I feel helpless very often, and sometimes you're going to feel really good and things are going well. I talked to another parent tonight who things have been going great. They were really encouraged at their plan, and then they hit a roadblock, and then they started to feel helpless again. It's not going to be where you feel confident in what you're doing all the time. You gotta just keep pushing through the stuff, because I promise you will get there. I really do. What they're counting on is that you stop trying and that you give up and that you're too tired, or that you just lose hope. Don't lose hope. Don't, keep encouraging each other, remind each other, reach out to other targeted parents, because you can get through this. If you need to reach out to me, please do. I am here for anyone that needs to. I do this just because it helps me, and I know how important it is. I don't want my situation to be in vain. I want to use it for any amount of good that I can, because that's the last thing that the alienator wants, right? Is for it to be exposed or used for good, or the devil. And I'm just not gonna allow anything to come into my life that's meant for bad. I'm gonna turn anything around I can. I've always lived that way. I'm definitely gonna go down fighting and trying anyways. So please be encouraged. Use these tactics. Do your own research. Do not throw your hands in the air. Please don't. You are not helpless. You are being targeted because you are the healthy, strong, and loving parent, and they are threatened by you. You need to remember that. You need to remember who you are, what kind of parent you are, and the relationship you have with your child. You love your child. I can tell you this, I'm bad at a lot of things. I've made a lot of mistakes, but the one thing that I know for sure is that I love my children. I would do anything for them, and I'm a very good mother. It's the opposite of what's being said, and you know what? It doesn't matter. I know in my heart, my intuition is right. If you feel like something's wrong, something's probably wrong. Don't get caught up in what they're doing at the alienating parent's house, or what's happening over there. It doesn't matter. You will drive yourself absolutely insane. They will they want you to do this. They want you to be concerned about little things. They want you to be concerned about what they're doing and scare you. Don't let them. Focus on you. Focus on your healing. Focus on doing what you need to do, putting in place what you need to do for your child when they are with you. When your child's with you, you give them a safe, comforting, loving place for them to be themselves and to feel safe and to be getting the help that they need, and make sure they're seeing a therapist. That's very important. I actually am in communication with my son's therapist. She checks in with me. If I can't get a hold of him or I'm struggling, I can reach out to her, and you know what? She's been fantastic and a huge help in my case as well. So, and they can recognize, if the parent is disordered, there's always that. Then you have that for a professional to be able to attest to that, whether it be to court or judge, something, parental coordinator, wherever you are, guardian ad litem. Be smart, be wise, put things in place that's going to help you and your child. This fight is a worthy one. So go on and Reckless Sisu coaching. Please reach out to me, make an appointment. There's appointment times you can go on to either have me help you fill out court paperwork for a very small fee of $25. Otherwise, any of the other coaching services I offer are completely free and just based on my time when I'm available. I hope that you guys, again, have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves. Bye from Minnesota.